Dear students, and welcome back to English with Professor Tabassum. In today's video, we'll be discussing the first poem of Intermediate Second Year English, that is Goodbye Party for Miss Pushpa TS, written by Nissim Ezekiel. Okay, so let us see first the objectives. Objective means that what we are going to learn from the poem. So, first, we'll be learning the difference between Indian use of English and British use of English. Means how our Indians use the English after independence and how the Britishers use the English. Then, second, we'll be learning that what are the formalities, means what are the necessary things we are supposed to do in a farewell speech. If we are organizing a farewell speech, then what are the necessary things required. Then it will also help us to appreciate satire and humor. Satire means the way to use humor, how to use humor, and humor means how funny something is. Okay, so it will help us appreciate the satire and humor in any piece of literature. Okay, then comes the appetizer. Tells us more about the lesson. So just imagine that if your juniors are arranging a farewell party for you, then it's an obvious thing that there will be a goodbye speech, right? So if it is a speech given by someone who is an Indian who is strongly influenced by the mother tongue, how would that address be? Strongly influenced by mother tongue means they have a habit of speaking in their mother tongue. Okay, so how they are going to give you the speech? If the speech is in Babu English, how humorous it would be. To enjoy Babu English, read the poem Goodbye Party for Miss Pushpa TS. Now, Babu English is the type of English Indians used after the independence. Okay, there were a lot of people influenced by the British English, but they did not know where to use which word and how. So, that type of English is called Babu English. So, this poem is going to be a very funny poem full of humor and satire. Before starting the poem, let us know little bit about the author. The author is Nissim Ezekiel. He was born in 1924. He was educated in Mumbai and in London. He is one of India's foremost Indo-Anglian poets. Now, what do you mean by Indo-Anglian? Indo-Anglian means that he is an Indian poet who has contributed to the English literature. Okay, and he is observed and experienced Indian lifestyle. He focused on Indian realities, the Indian contemporary scenes, modern urban life, human relationships, love and spiritual values are the themes of his poetry. So all these themes, human relationships, urban life, love, spiritual values, are themes of his different types of poetry. So he is a very versatile poet. He has a great sense of humor and wit. Wit, easily answering things on the spot. That is called wit. That is having presence of mind, always having an answer for something. Ezekiel passed away in the year 2004 at the age of 79. Now, this poem Goodbye Party for Miss Pushpa TS is a free verse poem. Free verse poem means that this poem is having no rhyme, and it is a farewell speech. It is a farewell speech. Now, this poem is having two sources of humor. Humor means in two ways the poem is very funny. First is the use of Indian English. Indian English is nothing but Babu English. And second is the character of the speaker, means the person who gave the speech, the speaker character is very funny. He does not have proper public speaking skills. So, the way he presents his speech and the types of sentences and words he is using, the sentence structure, that is making the poem very funny, or let's say humorous. The short lines of the poem present the cheerful character of the speaker. Means from the short lines we understand that the speaker is a very cheerful person. He is full of positivity and humor. The poem touches upon the use of English by Indians and the speaker's attitude to comment on post colonial Indian fascination to go abroad. Means after the colonialism, when it got over, means after the Britishers had left, then after that, how was India? In India, people were fascinated. They had this fascination to go abroad, okay, and speak English just like Britishers. And they had developed this type of attitude towards English, that Indians want to speak English. But at that time, they did not have proper knowledge of which how to form the sentences, or how to use which sentence and where, okay. So that was the problem India was facing, it as English was newly introduced to them, okay. Short, I am going to explain you the gist of the poem, or let's say a very short summary. So Miss Pushpa's colleagues and friends are meeting together. They are gathering together because they want to wish Miss Pushpa a happy and safe journey, because she is going to leave the country. Okay, and she is going to go to abroad. So what happens is they held a farewell party for her. A farewell party is held for her, and in that farewell party they describe her virtues. Virtues means the good deeds, the good nature she has, all those good things about her they are telling in the farewell party. And Miss Pushpa, she is the daughter of a very famous advocate, and she is described as a sweet, smiling lady from a reputed family who has a good nature, and she is described as popular. She is described as popular, helpful, and she is always in good spirits. Good spirits means that she is, whatever work is given to her, she's with a smile she does that work. Later, other people are invited to speak. Miss Pushpa's speech concludes the party. Let us see the poem first stanza. Friends, our dear sister is departing for foreign in 2-3 days, and we are meeting today to wish her bon voyage. Now, over here in this stanza, the author has done a lot of mistakes in English. Instead of saying that departing for foreign in 2 or 3 days, he says in 2-3 days. And he also says that we all are meeting today to wish her bon voyage. Now, bon voyage means safe journey. Okay, so they all have gathered here to wish her safe journey. Stanza, you are all knowing, friends, what sweetness is in Miss Pushpa. I don't mean only external sweetness, but internal sweetness. Miss Pushpa is smiling and smiling, even for no reason, but simply because she is feeling. So, again, the author says that you all friends have come here. What sweetness is in Miss Pushpa, you all know. And I don't mean only outside sweetness, that is external sweetness, means outside beauty, okay, or let's say physical beauty. Then, but internal sweetness means not only from outside but from inside also she is sweet. Now, Miss Pushpa is smiling and smiling for no reason. She means Miss Pushpa is always smiling, but simply because she is feeling. There are a lot of grammatical mistakes if you see over here. For example, when the author says you are all knowing, he should be saying as you all know. That is right English. But over here, he has used you are all knowing, which is again grammatically wrong. Then the author says external sweetness. He could use the word physical beauty, right? Physical beauty. Then internal sweetness. He could have used goodness of heart. Okay, then smiling and smiling, instead of saying smiling and smiling, he could say that she goes on smiling, right? Then, so this is about the first and second stanza. So in the first stanza, the poet is just referring the Miss Pushpa as dear sister, and then he mentions that she is going to go to foreign in 2 or 3 days, and then we all have come here today to wish her bon voyage, that is safe journey. Then in the second stanza, he just mentions that you all are knowing, friends, that Miss Pushpa is really good and sweet from the outside, that is the physical beauty she has, but she is also good at her heart, and she keeps on smiling all the time, simply. Okay, so that is the second stanza. So let us see the third stanza now. Pushpa is coming from very high family. Her father was renowned advocate in Balsar or Surat. I am not remembering now which place. So the speaker says over here that Miss Pushpa comes from a very high family. So instead of saying very high family, he means that very well to do or reputed family. Okay. Then he also says that I am not remembering, means he does not remember that his father, who is an advocate, he is from Surat or from Balsar. Okay, instead of saying I am not remembering, he should have used I don't remember. Fourth stanza, he says Surat. Ah, yes, means now the speaker remembers that Miss Pushpa's father is from Surat. Surat. Ah, yes. Once only I stayed in Surat with my family members of my uncle's very old friend. His wife was cooking nicely. That was long time ago. So what is happening over here? The funny part of the poem is that the speaker, instead of speaking about Miss Pushpa, he started speaking about his own personal experience, that he once went to Surat and there he met his uncle's very old friend, and his wife was cooking very nicely, and then he also mentions that it was a very long time ago. Okay, so over here he has used the line once only I stayed in Surat. He should have used only once I stayed in Surat. Okay. So this is the third and fourth stanza. So third stanza, he just says that Miss Pushpa is from a very high and reputed family. Father is an advocate, and he does not remember, the speaker of this poem, the narrator does not remember from which place the father belongs, whether it is Balsar or Surat. Okay, then in the fourth stanza he suddenly remembers that he is from Surat, and he also shares his experience that he has stayed in Surat, and uncle's old friend's wife had cooked very nicely, and that was a long time ago. So simply the speaker has diverted from the topic. His topic was to speak on Miss Pushpa's farewell, but over here he is doing wrong by sharing his own experience. Okay, next segment of the poem. Coming back to Miss Pushpa, she is most popular lady with men also and ladies also. So over here he has just come back, he has just remembered that he was supposed to talk about Miss Pushpa. Now he is back to the topic, and he says that Miss Pushpa is the most popular lady, and she is popular among the men and ladies also. So over here again there is a grammatical mistake. Instead of saying with men also and ladies also, he should say that with both men and women. Okay. Then coming to the fourth stanza, whenever I asked her to do anything, she was saying, just now only I will do it. That is showing good spirit. I am always appreciating the good spirit. So over here, he is appreciating Miss Pushpa and says that always, whenever I asked her to do anything, she will be ready to do it. She will say, just now only I will do it. And it shows her good spirit. And she is always a good spirit. And the speaker, the narrator, says that he appreciates the good spirit. Again, there are grammatical mistakes over here. When he says that Miss Pushpa says, just now only I will do it, she should actually say that I will do it now, or I will do it immediately. Then that is showing good spirit. This line also is grammatically wrong. Instead of saying that is showing good spirit, we should say that shows good spirit. Okay, then I am always appreciating the good spirit. Instead of saying this line, the author should say I always appreciate. Okay, a miss is never saying no. Whatever I or anybody is asking, she is always saying yes. And today she is going to improve her prospect. And we are wishing her bon voyage. So over here, he says that Miss Pushpa never says no. Miss Pushpa always agrees to whatever work is given to her. And today she is going to improve her prospect. And we are wishing her safe journey. Over here again there are grammatical mistakes. Instead of saying anybody is asking, we should use anybody asks. Always saying yes, we should say always says yes. Speaker says prospect. Over here he means that she is going to improve about something which will happen in the future. So again there's a grammatical mistake, and we are all going to wish her bon voyage, that is safe journey. Then in the last one, now I ask other speakers to speak and afterwards Miss Pushpa will do summing up. Means now other people are going to speak about Miss Pushpa, and finally Miss Pushpa is going to do the summing up. Means the ending part, Miss Pushpa is going to speak. So instead of saying summing up, he should have said will sum up. Means she is going to end with her speech. Text or the main situation in the poem is that it is not about Miss Pushpa leaving the country and going somewhere, okay? It is mainly about how our humans are having certain faults in the way we speak. So this poem is very satirical, means it creates a sense of humor, and it helps our Indian readers to laugh at their own self, at their own use of Babu English. How Indians are using English in this poem, it is mentioned very clearly, and how this becomes a humorous situation, that also is mentioned very well through this poem. Goodbye Party for Miss Pushpa TS.